Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Homeschool Minnesota. My name is Dayle Annand. I hope you guys are all doing well. Many of us are praying right now for a loved one, perhaps our own child who is deconstructing their faith. Such a big thing right now. And it can be a difficult journey to watch someone that we love so much struggle with what they once held very fast to, what they were raised in. It can be a real challenge for us as parents, as loved ones, as family members, as friends to watch people go through that process. Former atheist Pedro Garcia, I'm so glad it's former atheist. That's a blessing. So he has a
Yeah.
lot to say. Was not just skeptic, but a self-proclaimed atheist. All of that changed when he started a journey to prove Christianity is nothing more than a crutch for the ignorant. What he discovered was that was the opposites. Soon he started public conversations through his ministry, Ask and Wonder, where he encourages open discussions about faith. Please welcome Pedro Garcia. Hi, Pedro.
Hi, Dale. Thank you for
Th-
having me.
Thank you so much for coming today. I'm really excited. I think the thing I like is I think discussions are important, and I think we've lost the art of conversation in our country. I think we've lost the art of having a discussion even when there's disagreements in it, and just being able to walk through that and love each other. Um, I'm excited to talk to you about that, but first, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes. Well, thank you for having me, and hi everyone. I was born in Spain in 1985, and yeah, my family it's a bit eclectic, a little bit for a Spanish family from Spain. My father was somewhat of a Catholic that then left the faith. My uncle, my cousin are Jehovah Witnesses. And then my father and my mom went to live to Australia, and my father was um, involved in a Pentecostal church that regrettably took advantage of him in
Mm,
a. So he has always been in this journey, but before he passed 2 years ago, he actually became a follower of Jesus. It's a
praise God.
beautiful thing. But yeah, so I grew up in a, I would say very nominal Catholic, not even family, but I would say culture, which is, yeah, nominal Catholicism and non-faith are very, very close to be the same. But yeah, I've always had big questions about reality itself. I studied music, but I really wanted to study philosophy, but I never did it. So I've always had many questions. And, in my Catholic school, I always say this, like, I cannot say anything because that's not today's conversation. So in my experience with Catholicism, my experience, not anyone else's, mine wasn't a good experience, and
Mm,
it pushed me away from Jesus. And also I have to say, the main reason why that happens is because when I was a child, I didn't know how to distinguish between people that claim to follow Jesus
mhm.
and Jesus himself. So I just put everyone together, and this is what happened. I have beautiful family members and friends that are Catholic, and there's no problem. But my experience growing up with it in Spain wasn't good at all. And you can ask me more questions about that, Dale.
Yeah,
I don't mind. But
I
yeah,
will.
so yeah, after that, I studied saxophone, and I became a finalist of Spain's Got Talent in 2008.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that is weird because when I think about it, it feels that this didn't happen to me. But well, through all of that, I got invited to be a guest professor at MTSU, a university here in Nashville area, and that's how I came as a guest professor for a few months, and that's when I became in contact with Christians, and I started having conversations with them. My first reaction was, "Man, Christianity again." Oh, but but when the Lord wants you, He wants you. And I started having conversations with people the Lord knew. Christianity had to enter my brain first and not my heart. But gosh, if Christianity only inhabits your brain, that is not a good place for it to inhabit at all. Only, I mean,
Yes.
only.
Yeah.
So yeah, the process of sanctification pushed Christianity down to my heart.
Mm,
And So yeah, I can tell you more about that, but it was specifically when I read the Sermon on the Mount, three things happened to me. The first one was, wow, I would like the world and myself to be exactly like this. Was the
Wow.
first thing. The second thing was, wow, like this person is claiming to be God, and what he's saying is pretty provoking. So, wow. And the third thing was that I was always very afraid of death, and this
Mm,
this person was also claiming to have conquered death. So it really hit me really strong, and that's when I realized, being honest with you, Dale, I realized, look, even if this is not true,
yeah.
at least it's better than the life that I have. It's
Yeah.
an ideal that I'm going to hold on to, that is
Hmm.
going to be better for me and people around me than the one that I've formed myself. But it happened to be true.
That's so good.
And that's where I am today. So
I
yeah.
love that. Well, we're going to be talking about your book. It's right here. It's called For Those Who Doubt. For those who doubt, is it because of Jesus?
Yes.
I like that. I like that because I think you're right that a lot of people confuse Christ followers with Christ himself.
Hmm.
And while we are not perfect as Christ followers and we can do so many things that can turn people away from faith, just not even intentional, just our everyday life and our testimony isn't perfect. However, Christ is perfect and he's working his perfection in us. But in the meantime, that can be a lot of the reason why is because their eyes are off of Jesus and onto the person who hurt them or a church that was not okay or whatever. Can you define what it means to deconstruct your faith?
Yes. Okay. So this is a term that has become more popular over the last few years. What this means, Dale, is let's imagine that there's a Christian that grew up in a very legalistic home where love is conditional, trust must be earned, a place like that. So they grow up, they're Christians, they inherit that faith. It's not theirs. It's almost like imposed. And imagine this person is, let's say, 22, and all of a sudden they go, you know what? This faith, I don't even know if I believe this. So instead of leaving everything, what I'm going to do is to go. I mean, we try to be super specific, but well, belief by belief, and I'm going to deconstruct what I've learned and try to reconstruct it with truth. The thing is that there is something that happens subconsciously in people because, and we'll get to talk about this, Dale, if you like. Many people leave Christianity not because of intellectual reasons. They leave because there's something broken in their hearts that I understand they're trying to protect. And the way they protect is to building walls, intellectual walls around them, so that when you get to have conversations with them, the conversations skyrocket to the sky to talk about concepts, the ontological argument for the existence of God, quantum physics, and all of that, but they still feel protected for so that happens a lot. And the the main point of all of this is many people start deconstructing, but knowing subconsciously that they want to abandon their faith. They just want it to sound intellectual. They don't want to be emotional about it.
Yeah.
So now, if someone is truly like honest, then it wouldn't be that. It would be a neutral process where you go, okay, this belief is not right, but this is right, and Jesus is okay. This is perfect. Perfect. At the end of that process, if someone is honest, would say, "Wow, Jesus is true," but some of my beliefs were not. Now I need to walk towards the Lord so that He can heal me from it. So
Yeah.
I would say those are the two ways to deconstruct. You know.
Yeah. I think a lot of us go through a type of destruction when we deconstruction, not de-destruction. When we leave home and we become kind of get on our own and we start to really think through like, well, why do I believe that? You know, and it can either lead us, like you said, either closer to the Lord with a more solid truth base, or it can lead us, if like you said, if we're being honest, we didn't really want to be a Christian anyway, and this is our way of being, making it sound very intellectual and like we really thought it through and decided no.
Yes.
Um, which is, I'm sure a lot of people, that's their way of doing it. But I think I look at like your book, and I like the way your book is written, because it's written in conversations, and these aren't actual conversations that you've had, but they are conversations that I'm sure many people around the world are having with their loved ones, in so many ways. And it's kind of written, it reminds me a little bit of C.S. Lewis's work. I forget the name of the title of the book, but where he is, I think there's one where the dad is writing letters
Mm-hmm.
to his son, and his
Yeah.
son is letters from a skeptic.
Yeah.
That's what it is, and it reminds me a lot of that. And it's written in conversational form, and it's difficult to have those conversations sometimes with people that we love. And I think for somebody like me, I want to have the whole conversation right there sitting down at one time. And I want to end the conversation, and everything is all wrapped up in a nice little pretty package. And it doesn't happen like that. It's very frustrating. And I have to be okay with it. But, you know, in today's world where conversation is very complicated because we've made it so complicated. Um, we don't like to talk to people who disagree with us. We don't, it's very polarizing. Why did you choose to write it this way? And how do we have those difficult conversations about faith?
Let me see. So I would say the first thing about um, one of the things that I realized when I became a Christian, and so of course, after being an atheist, the Lord is using that side of me to help the church, edify the church, meaning to help the church as we all do with our talents, that He gives us to help people have different the way we look at these things, right? So I realized that not that many people have conversations with non-believers. Yeah, it's interesting. That makes me a bit sad, to be honest with you, because when we are saved, we're not saved in order to go to heaven. We're saved into the world to expand the kingdom of heaven here, right now.
Yes. Yes.
So, but I get it. Like, it's difficult to be with a person that is going to say, "Hey, your beliefs are completely stupid and you're an ignorant." I mean, not everyone is going to be like that, but exposing your being vulnerable like that is not easy. So I really get that. But the reason why I did that is for 10 years, I don't do it anymore. I want to keep doing it, but in a different way. We can talk about that. But for 10 years, I had this ministry called Ask and Wonder, and I would bring Christians and atheists together in public spaces. I would be a moderator with two speakers, and then the audience, questions, and all of this. And sometimes I would be the Christian speaker as well. And yeah, I all these experience that I had made me think. I mean, I wish all Christians could come to these. It doesn't have to be the ones that I organize. I don't care. It's not about me. But since they don't, but they many people have a family member or a friend that is struggling. Oh, I don't know what to do. Or they tell me this and I say that. I saw a video on social media and I send it to the person, but it's all very superficial. I wrote it in conversations to so the main two characters in the book, Peter and Thomas. There are many other characters in the book, but I wanted the person that is reading the book to sit at this coffee shop as if this person was there listening to it, and that's why the narrator is all in the present tense, so that oh wow, it's happening, oh it's happening, what's gonna happen, what's gonna happen, and I would like the reader to find themselves in the conversation and see how they would react. Now, the one thing I would say about the book, I wrote the book for a specific person, but I'm realizing because of some feedback that I guess the book can be read by many other people. I wrote the book for Christians who are doubting because my hope is that, sorry, excuse me. My hope is that at the end of the book, they face the question that started it all, is it because of Jesus?
Yeah.
Because in 10 years having conversations with non-believers and Christians who are doubting, my experience, no one has ever told me, Pedro, I left Christianity because of Jesus. And when I thought about that, it really was very impactful, because that would be the reason. The actual reason why you leave Christianity should be Jesus. I don't want anyone to leave Christianity. I'm just saying that
Right.
Jesus is Christianity. Christianity, it's expand, of course, that the Spirit doing what he's doing. But if you face Jesus, would you say no to him because of what you experience?
Mm.
And usually, Dale, the answer is no.
Yeah.
Could you imagine that? So the book
Mm.
is very raw, and you said it really well. Um, I wrote the book this way because that's reality. That's the stuff that you see when you are out there. But I'd like for people to face ultimately that question when they get to the end of the book.
Yeah. I mean, and having these conversations, they don't always wrap up in a pretty little bow. It's an ongoing conversation that you have with that person. And how do you keep those lines of communication open with somebody who is deconstructing, who does feel safe talking to you as a Christian? Maybe it's your child, maybe it's your spouse, maybe it's your parent, maybe it's your brother or sister or your neighbor, a really good friend that you've had your whole life. And maybe they feel safe with you somehow. How
Yes.
do you keep those lines of communication open? And then are you the one that should you be the one that brings up the conversation, or do you wait for them to bring it up?
Hmm. Yeah, very good questions. Very, very good, Dale. It depends on the relationship of the person, it depends on the context, it depends on so many things. Um, the one thing I would say though is, if one person comes up to you or me or any of the people in the audience saying, I have doubts about this, for example, you can see shoulders going up a little bit, say, hey, I actually don't think Christianity is true anymore. Now, look at this. This is a silly way just to put it, Dale, but when a person does that, what they're doing, I don't know how to say this in English. I always forget. But well, it's a silly analogy. It's almost like they bring a balloon to you and they put it on the table. And once they do that, they want to see what you're going to do with the balloon. Are you going to just to pop it? Right? Like, no, no, wait. So then let me tell you why that is wrong and this and that. Or are you going to let the balloon rest there? And you can let them, they're actually testing. What they're
Yeah.
doing is testing the water to see if you're going to just shut it down, or you're going to actually embrace not the doubt yourself, but embrace that behind the doubt there's always a person.
Mhm.
So I would
Yeah.
say, um, people say, I don't think Jesus is God. I don't think Jesus resurrected. I think science disproves the Bible. I think all of these things. The thing that I'm trying to do, and I do this on social media, by the way, every day. Uh, what I try to do is to help people see or understand the journey that it takes a person to end up saying something like that.
Yeah.
So the person behind the comment. So I would say, Dale, listen, please listen. I mean, not to you, to everyone, to me. We should
Right.
listen really well, really well. Why? What make you think this way about this topic? And when you start asking questions, it's like there's an onion and you start to peel it off the layers, exactly, and then you get to the heart. Oh, it's because a friend is not talking to you anymore, and
Yeah.
you trusted this friend who is a Christian, but he did something wrong, and now you're doubting all of it because of this situation. That, I'm not saying that it's always the case, but the majority of the times, I promise you, Dale, it's not because of intellectual reasons. It
Yeah.
truly isn't.
It's an emotional thing. What
Yes.
advice would you give to someone who is right now listening, who is questioning their faith, but hasn't really talked to anybody about it yet? They're just
Mm,
still figuring it out.
yeah. Yeah. And that breaks my heart, because that is the actual person I wrote the book to. Because when Christians have doubts, many times they decide not to share it because they think about Christianity as a tribal thing. If
Yeah.
you expose doubts, you're going to be neglected. And
Sure.
unfortunately, in some circles, that keeps happening.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I would say, first of all, I would say to this person, um, you are becoming another person of this 2,000-year-old tradition of doubt.
Yeah.
This is not new. Scripture is full of people doubting. The last prophet of the Old Covenant, John the Baptist, saw the Father speaking, Psalm 2, "You are my Son. In you I'm well pleased." The Spirit descending over the water, hovering like reminiscence of
Yeah.
creation, Genesis 1. And Jesus coming out of the water, the Son. This is the same person, John the Baptist, that was in jail and sent his disciples saying, "Are you the one?" Or so he's doubting. And Jesus says to his disciples, quoting Isaiah, "Well, tell John that the blind can see, the deaf can hear." And then he turns around and said to the crowds, after this, he said, I'm paraphrasing, "By the way, guys, you know that John the Baptist is great. He's amazing. Here, the least in the kingdom of heaven, but he's amazing." And you would go, what a thing to say after he's showing the doubt. So here's
Yeah.
the key. Here's the key. There are two ways to doubt. One is to doubt away from Jesus. Isolate yourself. Your doubts are not, he doesn't welcome them. Or you can do what John the Baptist did, which is to doubt towards him.
Mm.
And he's going to celebrate that because you probably are going to find rest to that doubt, and your relationship is going to become closer to Jesus as you doubt towards him. So
Yeah.
that's what I would say. I would ask. And of course, if someone is doubting like that, pray for someone in your life that is going to know how to listen to you well, or
Yeah.
at least one person.
Yeah. And for those of us who are in the life of people who are going through this whole journey, what advice would you give to parents who have children who are questioning right now? Maybe they're just getting home from their first year of college, for the summer, and they're getting, and they come back into the house and it's like, oh, do I know you? They're like, well, mom and dad, I don't know that I'm going to be going to church with you this summer.
Hmm.
Or I don't know, I don't know, but what advice would you give to parents who are walking through that, or any of us with anybody that we love who's walking through that right now?
It's a difficult thing because it's not the type of thing that we like to, usually there's a problem and we find the solution and that's it. The solution is gone. I mean, if there's time and your kids are still at home, I would say it's very counterintuitive to do this. I understand, but um, we want to protect our kids with holiness, with purity. That is true, but we are not in Eden. We are in the wilderness right now, even though the tree of life, Jesus himself came out of the temple to meet us in the wilderness. It's still the wilderness. So your kids, whether you want it or not, they're going to be facing so many difficult things in life. I would say to parents, maybe when they're 11, 12, even a bit before, slowly showing them how the world is truly, what the world is like, but they can process it with you being there. Because sometimes don't listen to this music, don't go to this, don't watch these movies, don't do this, don't do it, Bible, 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 and of course, all of a sudden they come out of this bubble, and of course, so wow, things are shining, and you know how sin works. Like if everything is very shiny, it's a scary thing to do, but we need to train them because again, they're not saved to go to heaven. That is the destination is beautiful, but we're saved into the world, salt, light. So bit by bit, there's a video at home that is a difficult thing to watch. Maybe you curate the content. Oh, look, this is what happened. What do you think about this? And they tell you what they think.
Mhm.
Because, by the way, this book that I wrote, uh, I think it would be perfect for parents to read with their kids, because as they read together, they can be, the father could be the person that is doubting, or vice versa, and they stop and analyze it. Oh, what would you say? Oh, wow, Papa, Mom, people think like this. Oh, yes, and this is what
Yeah.
happens, and this or that.
Yeah.
It's I promise you, Dale, when I wrote this book, I never had this in mind, but many people have told me, for youth
Yeah.
that are about to go to college, this book is like a lifesaver. That was
Yeah.
literal the words that I heard. And I'm so glad that the Lord had all the plans for this book.
I can see that because I can see how it would open up conversation while your children. I always tell people that the best place for your kids to make mistakes and to question things is when they're in your home.
Mm,
So don't be freaked out. I mean, I think sometimes we parent with a little bit of fear. It's like fear-based parenting. Like we're just so afraid that they're gonna, oh, they ask this question and it shows that they're struggling in their faith, and it's like, but that's a good place for them to do it, is when they're in your home
absolutely,
and they
Dale.
came to you.
Yes, yes,
That's like such a blessing. And so
yes.
when you open those conversations and their faith doesn't exactly line up with your faith, that's okay. Have them, I think one of the things that we always, we didn't always, of course, because we're not perfect, but we tried, is like, well, show us in the Bible where it says that.
Mm,
Back it up with scripture. If you can back it up with scripture, then we're good. But if you
yeah.
can't, then we need to have another conversation.
Hmm.
And so just really giving them the chance to explore their faith when they're living in your home and to really understand, and just giving them that solid foundation of a loving, you know, family who's willing to have those tough conversations.
Yes.
Then when they do leave your home and if things like that do come up, um, they know where to go with those questions.
Yes, Dale, that is beautiful. Another distinction that was very, very useful for me as I was thinking through all of this was, when a kid comes to you asking a question like that, for example, indirectly undermines a
Yeah,
core belief of Christianity, let's just say, we always think, oh, they're doubting. But you know what? What they might be doing is, I want to process this with you.
right,
But when they see you processing like, no, 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 that is a lie. No, 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 that is not here. Something goes off. Oh, the person that I want to be with the most, my parents, they reacted weird about this. Why? I want to know more about this.
right.
So if you show calm, like what do we do when we go to Jesus and we are all over the place? Stays calm, scripture, nothing. It's the same. It's the same for kids. They want to process things with you because they love you.
Right. Right. That's so good.
Mm.
Man, I could go on and on with you. There's so many good questions. Y'all are
Yeah.
just gonna have to get the book. Everything that we talk about, will definitely be in the show notes. Check it out. Links will be there too. But I want you to check this out. For those who doubt, is it because of Jesus? It's a great book, you guys. It's got some really great things, and definitely you could read this aloud to your kids and talk through it with them and say, what would you say to somebody, a friend who asked that, or your brother or sister who asked that question or who are struggling? What would you say? And just kind of walk through it with them. Bring up the conversation so that they know. They know that, and I think that we're afraid of doubt. God, I mean, Jesus had a disciple who he knew struggled with doubt.
I know.
Be a disciple,
I
because
know.
he knows that we don't, we aren't in a place where we can see Jesus face to face. We can physically hear his voice. All those things that we would love to be able to experience, we can't experience. So he knows that doubt is just a part of faith. And so yeah, and it can make us go deeper. Like, I love that you say doubt into Jesus. Like, you can doubt, like, okay, Jesus, show me
Yes,
about
yes,
this,
yes, yes, yes.
and it can
Mhm.
make our faith go deeper into him, or it can push us away.
Absolutely.
And we need to talk that through with our kids. Any last minute words that you want to share with our listeners?
Yeah, I mean, life is just, wow, I'm getting deep here. I'm sorry, but
That's
it's just,
okay.
as we walk towards Jesus, eyes on the cross, and our precious God decided to become a human to suffer, life is not going to be But Christianity doesn't promise happiness in this world. It
No.
promises joy through suffering. It's very different. But yeah, if there is you're doubting or someone is doubting, it would be my pleasure to help. You have the book, then you have the my podcast. It's called "Is It Because of Jesus?" Not no question mark. So is it because of Jesus? And the podcast, what I do, Dale, is to get comments from YouTube and TikTok that are very like fiercely criticizing Christianity, and I try to analyze them psychologically to try to understand the person behind them. And then on social media, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, the social media handle is it because of Jesus? No question mark. And I do short videos like this to try to help Christians see the person behind the comment, because
Yeah.
atheists, non-believers, and doubters are not people that we need to fight against, but we need to fight
No.
for.
Yeah.
So
Oh, I
yeah,
love
so
that.
absolutely. So at the end of the book, if someone reads it, my contact information is there. If someone wants to share their story, I'm here to listen. So yeah, it would be my pleasure.
So good. I love that. Atheists are not somebody to fight against, they're people that we fight for.
Yes.
That's just perfect way to end it. Thank you so much, Pedro, for being here today. And I just really I'm so grateful for your book, and I'm grateful for your honesty of your journey. That I strongly suspect made it into that book in a lot of places.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I really appreciate it. And for my listeners, thank you so much for being with us today. I'm so excited to have you here throughout this summer. We're going to be having a lot of great guests, so don't drop off the face of the earth. Take us with you on your road trip. Anyway, yeah, we just love having you guys. We'll talk to you guys again next time. Bye bye.